am the youngest of 14 children. My mother, Francisca, she was the mother of 14 children. And I didn't think she was an amazing woman when I was growing up because she was really, she was like the commander-in-chief, and her voice was the only voice because my dad, he would go retreat. She would be the one to do the scolding, and Dad would be the one telling you, I'm so sorry you went through that, but you know your mother's crazy. In retrospect, when I think about Francisca, I have come to really honor her in a very special way because she was a woman tied down to a household. She was very humble in nature, but very forceful at home. But for the outsider, oh, she was like a little saint, but no, she had to carry a household. My father had it very easy. He would bring the paycheck. He had a very good job. He was in the Navy. He was a captain of a ship. And he took care of his family. Francisca will go back home and she will become this warrior at home, having to negotiate with children, grandchildren, with their married daughters, and whatever problems they were having at home with their husband. And Dad, when he came home, he would rest. He would always come with candies or fruit to cheer up the kids. And her life was a little tragic. There are issues about race in the Caribbean that are a little bit different, or maybe happens in most families. But this coloring thing in the Caribbean, my mom had 3 sisters. My grandmother, she had 2 of the girls were conceived by a white person. The man that she was with had to be white. And they were very fair complexions. My grandfather was black. My mom was raised to serve her sisters. And throughout our development, we understood that the other sisters treated my mom as a second or third level person. And that bothers me up until today as a servant to her sisters, as though she was inferior to them. I remember once my father brought her new sets of dishes because like he was in the Navy and he was a captain of a ship. A lot of stuff used to come into the port. And I remember it was a set of English china, which she already had whatever she needed. But this was so special that she thought it was too good for her. She thought that her sister that was very well off and lived a life fabulously, but always looked down on her sister, my mother. This china will look better in my aunt's house. My father, that's the only time in my life I remember he went ballistic. He was like, why would you take the fine china and instead putting it up for your daughters or giving it to one of your daughters if you didn't want to use them because it was too fine for Ofelia and Lorenzo. We are the 2 younger ones to break them up. Why you give them to your sister? And her honest answer was to look better in Elfrida's house. And that way of hers of looking at herself as somebody of less value than her other families. And I remember I got in trouble at school. Somebody called me a name, I didn't like it, and I slapped the person. And I was expelled from school, so I called my mom, she picked me up. And when we went home, she said, I want to tell you what's going to happen to you if you continue to do this. She said, look at the color of your skin. Look at the people around you. If you don't get an education, you will wind up working in the kitchen of the white man. Is that what you want? Because that's not what I want for you. She said, little black girls are not considered as human beings. But if you don't get an education, you will wind up in the kitchen of a white man. That threat, I carry that for all my life. Education is the only way. This humble woman, having to take care of 14 kids and as many grandkids as came about, had the wisdom to tell me, I'm not going to beat you. I'm not going to spank you. I want you to be a woman that could have positive experiences in this world. And that will only happen through an education. And that stays with me forever and ever. Forever and ever. Forever and ever.